Hello and welcome. We're going to wait a few more minutes while people enter into the webinar. My name's Juliana Halloran, and I am going to be your host today. And today we're going to be talking about understanding hormones and the role that nutrition plays. So this is something that's been coming up a lot, and I've been seeing it more and more out there on social media. More of my clients are asking about this. And as time goes on and as we age, things start to shift around. And one of those things are our hormones. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So as you enter the chat, please say hello. Tell me where you're coming from. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and start this workshop. And as you ask questions, I'm happy to ask any questions that are going on during the chat. But if you can, let's go ahead and save all questions for the end. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And what we're doing today is we're going to talk about our hormones. This is, like I said, this is a topic that has been coming up very often. And as we age, as I'm aging, I'm learning that this is becoming more and more important when it's related to our health, our fitness, our nutrition. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to ask a question. Does anyone remember the 5th grade health class when they showed us a video on menstruation? It was vague, but we knew that they were giving us some type of PSA about our body. Well, this was the first introduction that I had to hormones, and they really didn't give us a lot of education on it. So they throw up this video, they show us a couple of slides, and they tell us that this is our reproductive years and that we're going to start a period and our hormones are going to start making us feel a little funny. And it's like, what's happening? So hormones isn't something that we were really taught, at least not an extensive education on it. And so what I'm going to do today is my goal today is to talk about our hormones and what roles they play with us throughout the different cycles in our life as well. And one of the things I'm going to start with first is introduction of who I am. My name's Juliana Garcia Halloran, and I'm a mother of one. I have degrees in psychology and nutrition, and I've been a personal trainer for nearly 20 years now. So I got into fitness almost 20 years ago. A little later into fitness, I decided nutrition plays a big role in our fitness and how we get results. So I later went back to school, got a degree in nutrition. And for the last 12 years, I have been implementing nutrition with my fitness clients so that they can see optimal results. I'm also an IFBB bikini pro with over 30 competitions completed. So I put my body through quite a bit when it comes to changing my physique. And I learned a lot along the way when it comes to my nutrition. Now, I'm a former pro athlete and I am currently going through perimenopause. So this is something that took me by surprise. I was not expecting it. It was the second time I called my mom, was like, Mom, what's going on? What's happening? I didn't have any warning about this. And this happened last August. I basically, from literally like one day to the next, I just started feeling different. Things weren't the same anymore. My mood started changing. My motivation was declining. For someone who loves going to the gym and working out on a regular basis, I woke up one day and I had no motivation to want to go to the gym. So I knew something was off. But not just that, I had my cognition wasn't the same. My mood wasn't the same. I was getting very irritable. So those were my first signs when I thought like something's going on and I need to do something about it. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to talk about hormones and their roles. I'm going to be reviewing the big ones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, thyroid, and insulin. Do any of these ring a bell? These are all hormones that play major roles in our body, and we need them. We need them to allow our body to do the things that it does on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to review the symptoms of hormonal imbalance and what to look for. I'm also going to be discussing the female life cycles from start of puberty all the way through postmenopause. And then we're going to move on to the nutrition and how it relates to our hormones. And finally, the next steps and what solutions are out there. All right. Hello, everybody. Go ahead and say hello in the chat as you enter into the call. Okay, so let's dive right in. First, what are hormones and what are the roles that they play? So hormones are known as the body's chemical messengers, and they're secreted into your blood where they travel to your organs and cells to perform specific fun actions. Okay, so every cell has hormone receptors, meaning that our body is constantly communicating with our hormones. So hormones are like your boss. It tells you what job you're going to be doing. So as we age, our hormones begin to decline, and the messages our cells normally receive stop arriving, and important functions like stop operating like they once used to. So it's like the boss decided not to show up to work, and all the workers are just doing whatever they want. They're sitting around, they're not doing their job. So just imagine that could be going on in your body. And this starts to happen for women who enter into their late 30s, as early as their late 30s, and enter their 40s. On average, the age between 44 and 48 seems to be the sweet spot of when women start experiencing perimenopause. Now, not all women are going to go through perimenopause. Some women might not even feel symptoms. Lucky them, right? I know for me, it just started right at the end of my 46th year, and my symptoms started coming in. And there are roles like metabolic processes that begin to decline. Our cortisol levels are going to start rising. We start getting hot flashes. They start coming and going. And then reproduction and growth become out of balance. And we start seeing signs like our menstrual cycle becoming inconsistent. And these changes also cause our cognitive function, like I was mentioning earlier, and mood to start feeling off. So symptoms like anxiety and depression start showing up, and we don't feel like ourselves. So if you're feeling any of these, put it into the chat box. These are all signs that we need to take action and see how we can work with our changing physiology and maximize our health and fitness, because we want to start feeling like ourselves again. And if we go from day to day where we're feeling great, everything's fine, our fitness is good, we're eating healthy, but we're starting to see changes that we don't normally see, like weight gain, hot flashes, our sleep's disrupted, then these are things that we need to pay attention to so that we can get ahead of it. And I wish that I knew early on some of the symptoms that were going to come on so that I could get ahead of it. I wasn't getting my blood work checked or anything like that regularly. So I didn't know what to even ask my doctor to start seeing if I needed to look for any symptoms when I turned into my 40s. So hopefully today, what you're going to learn is that if you are at young age, for like your 30s, and you can get ahead of this. If you're in your 40s and maybe you can relate to everything I'm saying, then maybe some of the things that you take away from this can help you to find solutions for what you're going through. So let's dive into the main hormones. So we've got our big hitters here. And like I said, I'm going to talk about 6 of them today. First one is going to be estrogen. So estrogen is one of women's 2 main sex hormones. It's going to help control your menstrual cycle, which plays a vital role in our reproduction. It protects our bone health. It keeps our cholesterol levels under control, and it affects your heart, your skin, and brain, including your mood. Guys, this is so important. My estrogen, when I had my blood work done, my numbers showed that my testosterone was low, my estrogen was low, and estrogen is something that it's one of our main sex hormones that we need so that we're functioning properly. So low estrogen can cause an increase in fat, so an accumulation in our midsection. And also many women can relate to this as they get older and their estrogen lowers, they start accumulating belly fat. And they tell me, well, I haven't changed my diet. In fact, I'm eating less and I'm hardly eating and I'm exercising more and nothing's changing. Ladies, you're not going crazy. It's your hormones. We need that estrogen to be balanced so that it can perform the jobs necessary for us to have our metabolism balanced, so that our mood is balanced. So understanding that estrogen increases our growth hormone secretion. It also helps with tissue repair. It protects against Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, heart disease, blindness. These are all things that are necessary for our good health. And so when it's low, a lot of things can start going wrong. So not only does it help with our mood, but it increases our HDL cholesterol, and having the correct estrogen levels can also help with our hot flashes that are caused by menopause. So getting it balanced is going to be really important. So the other sex hormone that we have is progesterone. Now these work together, okay? It's the other sex hormone that not only helps regulate your menstrual cycle, but it's also going to help to balance your estrogen. It's going to increase your metabolic rate. It's going to improve your sleep, increase flexibility. So as you can see, these hormones play big roles in order for us to be healthy and also to make sure that we're balanced. Next, we have testosterone. Now, we know that this is the main male sex hormone, right? And both men and women have testosterone, but women make it in smaller amounts. It contributes to our bone strength. It maintains ovarian function, and it plays a role in sexual health and desire. So in order for your ovaries to work normally, you must have the proper balance of estrogen and testosterone. These are going to work together, and we need it because it does help in building and maintaining muscles. Estrogen is also an anabolic hormone. So when they're working together, then we have strong, lean, healthy mass, muscle tissue, and we also have great, strong bones as well. It's also going to help with getting good sleep. It's going to lower depression, anxiety. It's going to increase our libido and our orgasms. Now, who doesn't want that, right? And it's going to protect our heart. So these three hormones together, when they're working in balance, then we're going to feel optimal. We're going to have good mood. We're going to get good sleep. We're not going to have a lot of hot flashes. We're going to feel strong. We're going to feel motivated. One of the things that I noticed with me was I started experiencing depression. I was also experiencing anxiety, and it was also because my testosterone was low. And I'm going to go over the solution that I found that worked for me. And there's going to be some different options out there. But the thing that worked for me was increasing my testosterone and increasing my estrogen. Once these two were increased, I started feeling so much better. The worst feeling was not being in control of my emotions. I didn't understand what was going on. And when I talked to my doctor, they explained to me that testosterone and my estrogen were low. And that once I started taking, if I had hormone replacement therapy, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, then that could help me. And it did. And I'll get into that. The next hormones we're going to talk about are going to be our cortisol, our thyroid, and our insulin. Now, cortisol, many of you may or may not know, but it is a primary primary stress hormone. It increases it increases sugars in the bloodstream, and it enhances your brain's use of glucose and increase the availability of substances that repair tissue. So very important. All these hormones play really important roles. So elevated levels will suppress your immune system. So you ever feel high stress and you prone to being more sick? You're getting sick because your cortisol levels are high. And when your cortisol levels are high, you begin to develop anxiety. You're always in that fight or flight phase, which isn't good for us to be in. And when my levels were off, I experienced that anxiety, and it wasn't fun at all. I had never experienced anxiety before, but as my levels started to decrease, I started experiencing that. So these are just some of the symptoms that come along with going through perimenopause as our hormones are imbalanced. Okay. And some of you might not be going through this, but it's important to know the roles that our hormones are playing for us. Now, let's talk about thyroid. Now, your thyroid and reproductive hormones are intricately connected. As stress can interfere with your reproductive hormones directly, it can also interfere indirectly by negatively affecting your thyroid hormones. Our thyroid hormones are going to be regulating our metabolism. And when they aren't balanced, then we have a hard time losing weight. And this happens when we think, so one of the things that we end up doing is we start eating less. If you're like me and a lot of my clients, then if we start gaining weight, the first thing that we start doing is we eat less. But this isn't what we should be doing, because when we eat less, then our body is communicating to our hypothalamus and telling it, hey, she's not giving us enough fuel. So now we're going to downregulate the thyroid. And the reason why is because now the body wants to go and start storing all the food you're giving it as fat. So there is a cascade of events that take place. So our thyroid hormones need to be balanced in order for our metabolism to be running healthy. Okay. And so signs of a hypothyroid, which is an underactive thyroid, are fatigue, difficulty losing weight, depression, anxiety, a hoarse voice, cold intolerance. You can also get cold hands and feet, constipation, and irregular periods. And these are just some of the symptoms that we should be looking for when checking for symptoms for our hormones. And finally, insulin. I'll touch really quick on this. It's a hormone that's released by the pancreas to move glucose into the body cells to provide energy. It's an essential hormone that helps your body turn food into energy and controls your blood sugar levels. And the lack of insulin causes a form of diabetes. So this is how type 2 diabetes can be caused. So with the right diet and food timing, insulin can be managed to prevent diabetes. So we want our insulin to be balanced. And this takes place with the amount of carbohydrates that we're taking in. Okay. Now, moving on to signs of hormonal imbalances. If we have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat for me. And what I'm going to do is go over signs of hormonal imbalances. So there's a slew of things that we could be experiencing. Okay, so I'm forgetfulness. Okay, that's something that I definitely was experiencing as I started getting these symptoms. Fatigue, if you're feeling sleep, if you're not having an easy time sleeping at night, this could be due to your hormones being imbalanced. Stubborn acne, mood swings, hot flashes, night sweats, blurred vision, weight gain, and or trouble losing weight. There's also an increased sensitivity to colds and heat. All of these symptoms are coming because our hormones are not balanced. We want to make sure that we're getting them balanced. And when they're balanced, everything feels great. You feel motivated. Your stress levels are controlled. Your blood sugar is balanced. Your body composition is leaner. Your energy is constant. Now you're feeling good. You're on top of the world. And this is when your hormones are balanced. And when they're not balanced, then we start feeling all of the other symptoms. So how can we do, what can we do to keep them balanced? Now, there are some things that disrupt our hormones. And these are some lifestyle behaviors that could be causing you to be unbalanced. And I'm going to go over some of them right now. So not only do our hormones start fluctuating as we age, but our nutrition, our environment, and lifestyle choices play roles on our hormones. So the foods that we eat, the amount of sleep that we get, and our stress are the big three that can affect our hormones. So making sure that we are creating a healthy environment is key to balancing our hormones, but it's also important that we get blood work checked to see where our levels are, because from firsthand experience, I was doing everything right, and I still was not operating where I felt what I considered to be normal. So if we're doing any of these behaviors, like eating late at night, having an unhealthy diet, having too much stress, and I know it's hard to reduce your stress when it's just coming at you every day, whether it's work, whether it's kids, whether it's your spouse, things can really add up and cause a lot of stress, which is going to cause our cortisol levels to heighten, and this is going to start causing other problems in our health as well. So eating a lot of sugar is also another way to disrupt your hormones. Drinking too much caffeine, making sure that we're not having 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day and keeping it regulated. Not getting enough sleep can also be a big thing. And if you're already having symptoms of not having regular sleep, that could be a problem. But there are some behaviors that you can do to make sure that you have good sleep etiquette that can help you get a better night's sleep. Not enough exercise. If you're not exercising, that's going to play a really big role in helping balance your hormones, because when your estrogen, your testosterone are dwindling, then we need to promote exercise so that they can make up for the loss that your hormones are giving your body. So resistance training, cardiovascular exercise, these are going to be things that should be implemented into your weekly schedule so that you can try and optimize your hormones. And then there's even other ways, like using toxic beauty and cleaning supplies. So our environment's also going to play a role in our hormone health as well. Do we have any questions so far before I move on? So talking about behaviors that can disrupt our hormones, I want to slide into the different female cycles that we have and see which cycle you're in. So the female cycles, and I want to talk about this because we're all going to go through them, all of us. Okay, starting from puberty all the way through postmenopause. And this is where we start. So when you can identify which life cycle you're in, then we can determine what our needs are to balance our hormones. So we start at puberty, and as we age, we go through all of these cycles. So where do you fall? So I'm currently in perimenopause, and it has been an eye-opener for me. And then menopause is the end of your reproductive years. And there are 3 stages to this transitional period. But menopause, that exact time is when you've consistently missed your period for 1 year. When that is complete, then you are entirely in menopause. And so where we start in phase 1 in our life before menopause is going to be menstruation. And this happens at intervals of 1 lunar month from puberty until menopause, meaning that you're going to have a menses or a cycle every 28 days. And when puberty starts, it'll go on until we hit perimenopause, but then it becomes irregular. And then when you completely stop all of a year of your menstrual cycle, then you're in menopause. So phase 2 is going to be perimenopause, and this can start 10 years before menopause. And you could be going through all these symptoms for 10 years until you completely go through menopause. But the average duration is 3 to 4 years. So what's happening is you're ovulating less, causing fluctuating hormone levels, and you're going to produce less progesterone. And this is going to be causing erratic or skip periods. So depending on if you're ovulating or not, if you don't ovulate, then your progesterone is going to be out of balance. And that's what causes all the irregular and erratic periods. And for me, I'm going through that right now. So if you can relate, go ahead and put it in the chat box. All right. And the third one is going to be menopause. Now, like I mentioned, this is the point where you no longer menstruate. You haven't had a monthly period for 12 consecutive months. And your estrogen production in the ovaries is almost completely stopped. So your estrogen is slowly dwindling and your symptoms are slowly rising. Because of this, you have lower levels of estrogen as well as a lack of progesterone. And these diminished hormone levels cause the uncomfortable symptoms of menopause. So all those symptoms that I had gone over, those are the ones that you'll start experiencing. And finally, the final phase is going to be postmenopause. This is the official name for the rest of your life after menopause. Your ovaries are no longer producing estrogen or progesterone. Any uncomfortable menopausal symptoms do typically go away, but risk for conditions like osteoporosis, heart disease, and diabetes do rise. So having a healthy nutrition and fitness lifestyle are going to be vital during this time frame. So if you haven't been working out or if you haven't been eating healthy, then these are the things that you want to really start implementing so that you can start making up for the lack of hormones that are going on in your body. So the question is, where do I start? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to check for symptoms, because once you understand the massive role that these hormones play in nearly every bodily function, it becomes really clear why the menopausal transition can be so disruptive. And not everyone experiences every symptom, but some women's lives are so disrupted that they feel like they've been the victims of hostile hormonal takeover that leaves them trapped inside a body and your mind. And it's a mind they barely recognize. I know that was the same for me. I totally can relate because of feeling trapped inside my body. And until I figured out to check my hormones, I felt lost. And once I had blood work done and spoke to a professional about my symptoms, we were able to find the right solution for me. And if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, I recommend seeking professional advice on your next steps. So one thing that I do recommend is finding a practitioner, a licensed practitioner for women going through this transitional time so that they can read your blood work, read your levels, getting your blood work checked, and then allowing them to prescribe bioidentical hormones if that's something that you need to do, because they're going to bring your levels to normal ranges so that you can start relieving your symptoms. I started off with creams in the beginning. My first step was I found someone online. It was all through telehealth. And I met with a nurse practitioner. We went through my symptoms. We read my blood work and we saw my levels were low. She made a recommendation to get on bioidentical hormones using creams. I was excited. I started using them. And on a scale of 1 to 10, they probably helped me at about a 3. I still wasn't feeling my normal self. I was still feeling anxiety. I was still feeling depression. And I knew that I still needed to do something more. It also took me on a deep dive into my health, a deep dive into hormones and how they relate to our health and what can I do about it. And the more I learned, the more I realized that nutrition played a huge role also in helping balance our hormones. So I was doing everything. I was already eating very healthy because that's something I just carried over from my competition years. But I really started eating cleaner than I ever had before. I started looking at all the products I had in my house and what I was putting on my skin and in my hair. And it was something that really opened my eyes. And even though I was doing everything right, including my fitness, even though I didn't feel, confident, my confidence was getting low. I started questioning things. I was still going to the gym, even when I didn't feel like it. And that is something that is really hard to do. I've had clients in the past who told me, like, I'm not motivated, I can't get to the gym. And I never really understood what they meant until I started having my perimenopausal symptoms. I lost all motivation. So the creams, although they helped me a little bit, I still feel like there was more I could be doing. So I went into a deeper dive. And now what I'm doing hormonal replacement therapy. But what I'm doing, and it might not be for everyone, but I'm doing testosterone that's injected. And I'm also taking an estrogen pill. And since I've been doing that for the past 2.5 weeks, I can say that I, on a scale of 1 to 10, am at about a 7. It has completely changed. And the only thing I regret is that I didn't do it sooner. I wanted to try the creams. I didn't want to go and do any injections. Even as a bodybuilder, I've never injected anything in my body. But once I started taking the testosterone, it's definitely something that has been beneficial for me. I am enjoying going to the gym again. My anxiety and depression are almost completely gone, and my libido is back. She bounced like 6 months ago, and I wasn't sure what was going on. It wasn't something that I was, used to, but now I'm starting to feel better and I'm starting to feel more confident. So one of the solutions, if we are having low hormones, is hormone replacement therapy. It's not for everybody, and not everybody is going to want to do this. In fact, most of my clients want to try it the holistic way, which is great. And so doing nutrition and eating healthier is going to be a great route for you to go if you don't want to do hormone replacement therapy. And I am also going to talk about supplements while I talk about nutrition. So moving on, and if you are looking for hormone replacement options, then I do have a link, and I'm going to share that in the follow-up email that I'm going to be sending after this video, along with this replay video. And because the most important thing you can do is speak to a professional about your next steps, and telehealth medicine can provide everything virtually. Okay. So if you don't want to go anywhere, if you want to do everything from the comfort of your home, you can definitely do that. And then I'm going to talk about a supplement that I started using about 5 months ago called OvaM. And that's something that's also helped reduce my symptoms as well. Okay, so moving on to nutrition, how it affects your hormones. So eating a healthy diet is essential for maintaining balanced hormones. Nutritional deficiencies can cause our hormones to be out of whack. For example, thyroid requires B12, selenium, tryptophan, and vitamin D to function properly. We need adequate proteins, magnesium, B12, and zinc to make TSH, which is our thyroid stimulating hormone. So understanding our needs can create a healthy hormonal environment that allows us to live in balance. So if you're not sure what to eat or how to eat, I can definitely help you fill the gaps with that. And you also want to eat enough. Oh, that seems to be something that with a lot of women, the moment they start gaining weight in their midsection, they cut back on their calories. And that's the last thing that you want to do. So many women that I meet are under eating, and it stems from what we were taught. And that is that if we want to lose weight, then we should eat less. And unfortunately, this is just going to create more problems since we're not getting the nutrients from adequate amounts of food. So that's going to be really important. So eating a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats can help to provide your body with the nutrients it needs to produce hormones and keep them in balance. Additionally, eating sugary foods, processed foods, those foods can help to prevent spikes in insulin. So you want to avoid them, okay, which can disrupt the balance of hormones in the body. So whole foods it's going to be simple. I'm going to talk about whole foods, and then eating less processed foods, and creating macro bowls that are going to be healthy and that you're enjoying them. And also making sure that you're eating on a schedule each day so that your body is getting fueled the adequate nutrients that it needs. So eating a healthy diet can help to ensure that your hormones are balanced, which can lead to improved physical and mental health. So, and the next thing that we're going to cover is How much should I eat? Now, this is a question I get all the time. So I created this. I didn't create this formula. I got this formula from Dr. Stacy Sims' book, Next Level, because our body requires fuel. And when we feed it the right amounts, it's going to reward us with the right nutrients, good energy, better recovery, balanced hormones, and we can show up for ourselves and perform at an optimal level. So once you know how much to eat, you can plan your schedule of eating and time your meals around your workout. So going over this here, this is going to be an example of a 150-pound woman. So, and this is for my active women too. For my more active women, for example, the carbohydrates, it says that you should have 2 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. Now, to find out how many kilograms that you are, you're going to take your weight and you're going to divide it by 2.2. So that's going to be the number. So for a 150-pound woman, for carbohydrates, you need to take 2 grams times 68, and that's going to be 136 grams per day of carbohydrates. Now, there's other ways that you can figure out how many calories you should be eating. This one is by Dr. Sims, who wrote the book on going through perimenopause, menopause, hormone changes. I highly recommend her book. I just read it along with another book that she has. So great content in there. And it's really going to give you some good insight on healthy eating and fitness and what you should be doing when you're going through these cycles in your life. Now, moving on to protein. So an active woman can be having up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So 1.8 would be on the low end. So if you're not accustomed to eating a lot of protein to begin with, I would start at the 1.8 range. And so you would take 1.8 and multiply that by your weight in kilograms. And that's how many grams of protein you should be eating a day. And then for fat, you'll take your weight in kilograms and add it by 1. So once you have these numbers, that's the total amount of grams per macronutrient you should be having in a day. And you want to try and break those up into anywhere from at least 3 meals to 5 meals throughout the day. Depending on your schedule, you're also going to want to time it around your workouts. One thing that I can say for certain is that if you are working out in the gym, if you are doing resistance training, then I recommend an hour before you work out having anywhere from 25 to 30 grams of protein. And then with an hour after your workout, another 25 to 30 grams of protein. So in just those 2 meals, you're going to be having between 50 and 60 grams of protein. So if your goal is to have 122 in a day, that's almost half your protein that you're already going to be having. Protein is going to be found in lean meats, but if you're not eating animal protein, then you can also find it in other varieties of plant proteins as well. So things like rice and beans are also going to give you some complete proteins. And if you're looking for more nutritional help, you could definitely contact me, and then I can get you started on the right eating, the right plan, how much you should be eating, and what a typical day of eating can look like for you. Any questions so far? Not a lot of questions yet. That's okay. So when you have a question, feel free to type it into the chat box. Okay, so next steps for nutrition. So this is where you get to nourish your body. And also today, I'm going to be sending each of you 2 resources to get you started on your nutrition journey. So by messaging me your name and your email, I can send these for you to start implementing new healthy practices to help get you on track. So you aren't going away empty-handed. I will be emailing you a step-by-step guide on starting some healthy nutrition practices to start you on your journey. So one is a step-by-step guide on transitioning to clean eating and nourishing your body, and the other gives you evidence-based health and nutrition tips to get you started on leading a healthier lifestyle. So the next steps are, you want to start a healthy nutrition routine if you're not doing that already. So you want to start by implementing new eating behaviors and strategies to nourish your body. And like I said, I'm going to provide you with a nutrition guide to get you started. Then you want to create a supplement routine. Ask me about mine. In fact, I'm going to go over that next. And this is important. I know we didn't talk a lot about it, but you want to make time for exercise, at least 45 to 60 minutes a day to commit to your fitness. And I have workout programs available if that's something that you're interested in as well. Okay, so as I said, nutrition is going to play a big role in balancing your hormones. And once we start getting the right nutrients and we start eating enough to fuel our body, the magic is going to start happening. And if you're unsure what to do or where to start, reach out to me and we'll set up your complimentary nutrition consultation and I can help you get started on your journey. Okay, and finally, my supplement list. Now, these are supplements that I am taking because they play a vital role to help you get the nutrients your body needs to help balance your hormones. And having the right nutrients along with getting your gut biome in order all play a role. So just a few of the things that I take here. I'll be sharing this in a follow-up email as well. Axis OptiPack is one of the first ones. And what I like about this is it has multivitamin, antioxidants, adaptogens, and a vitality complex with an omega complete. These are all things that we need. And if we're not getting it all from food, then we definitely want to take a supplement to help bridge that gap. And then I also take a liquid BioCell collagen, which I love. In fact, I can definitely tell from the collagen, and I've been taking this now for about 6.5 months. My nails, my hair, my skin are all changing for the better. And then Axis Phytogreens, phytonutrients that are going to give me the nutrients that I'm not getting from food as well. So once you start implementing these practices with your supplements, you'll start feeling better. Your energy is going to increase. And then the Axis Tree Biotic is for your gut biome. And we want to have a healthy gut biome so that we're absorbing our nutrients properly. And we want to have a healthy digestive tract as well. So having probiotics and the tree biotics are going to be essential to keeping your gut biome healthy. And finally, I want to talk to you a little bit about OVA-M. This product came out by Modere that's supposed to help give you the right nutrients you need and to help reduce symptoms. Before I started taking my HRT, I could tell within 2 weeks after taking the OVA-M that my symptoms were being lessened. My depression was going down, my anxiety was less. It wasn't completely gone, but I can definitely tell that it helped. These are more holistic ways to go about balancing your hormones if hormone replacement therapy isn't right for you. Okay, so as I wrap up, I'm going to see if anyone has any questions. And if there are no questions, I'll keep moving on. And for those that want to contact me, this will be your way of contacting me. You can email me directly at juliana@wefit12.com. And I'm happy to set up a free consultation to review your nutrition and fitness goals. And if you have any other questions that you want to talk with me one-on-one, this is a great opportunity to do that. And here are all my social media outlets. I want to thank everyone for joining me today, and I will see you soon.